How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we have a video that a lot of you have requested quite frequently over our live streams, over comments. We're going to do some test hands. Before we begin, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's kick this off. If you want 5% off any single or sealed product, head over to tier0games.com and use code GALZO5 at checkout. So, one thing I don't particularly like about doing test hands is that you're playing against no opponent, basically, right? Your test hands should reflect the deck you're playing against. The way you think about plays is dependent entirely on the matchup, if you're going first, if you're going second. But we are going to do a few test hands and see what are like the most optimal plays out of those. I think that will teach you a little bit about, how to play the deck more naturally. I would also say that play testing is the best way to get to know your deck. Like, you learn the basics from, let's say, my videos, and then you take it to a new level based on your own locals. You test your own builds, and you just become a better player by doing that. So we're just going to be opening our first hand. That's very interesting. So let's start and play this hand out. So it's not like a super optimal hand, I gotta say, but we do have access to Branded Fusion, which is probably the best that we can get. If we would have gone second, this Harpies and this Lubellion would have gone crazy, but we're not going second. Let's say we're going first. And let's start breaking down this hand. So the only thing that you can do right now is branded opening. What would you send as cost here for opening? If your answer is in red, that's incorrect. If your answer is lost, that is also incorrect. And you can either choose opening or Feather Duster, depending on the matchup, of course, but also depending on going first, going second. But I would say blind first. You don't know which deck you're going against. I would probably discard the opening here just because I can recycle it through some measures, and I rather have this very important one-of in my hand rather than just discard it. There's no reason to discard it. So we're just going to do that. We are going to discard the opening. Don't forget that opening summons in defense position. And then we are going to get Branded Fusion. So we do have Cartesia. We do have Branded Lost, which is really, really good. Right now, we have Duster, we have the red, and we also have the opening right here. So the sequencing here will be going Branded Lost, then activating Branded Fusion. So there's a few things here that you would want to consider. One option here is to just go for something like Albaz and Lubellion, right? If you are playing Branded Beast in your build, I did in my last locals, so this will get you a pop, a banish, follow up, and you already have Branded Red. That's a very good field altogether. So what we're going to do is go for that line, okay? We're going to go send the Albaz and the Lubellion here. So we get that additional value. You don't have to go crazy here, and there's no reason currently why you would get Rinbrum. Blind first, this probably does less than Mirror Jade. So we are going to go for the Mirror Jade here. The screen is, my board is super bright, so I'm just going to put the cards right here. Then we get, sorry, it's funny because I skipped like a lot of steps. Of course, you go for the Albion here, right? Now there is actually Branded opening is done in my hand already, and now we have a few options, right? We can go for Albion as Chainlink 1, right? That's obvious. Branded Lost is Chainlink 2. And now you need to think about the next play, which is going to be Lubellion, right? You will banish the Albaz and the Eluber to get a Lubellion. That way you can summon Mirror Jade. What is going to be the best discard to get from Branded Lost, in your opinion? So think about that for a second. I think that in this scenario, you can definitely get something like Albion, right, to discard it, or Cartesia to discard it to get it for the next turn, right? You can also basically normal summon the Cartesia and discard the Duster, right? There's two options here. So Cartesia is probably going to get you a little bit more value. The reason why you can also get Mercurier here for a negate, but you just need to remember that you need to discard. So maybe right now we are losing that Feather Duster because getting the Cartesia and summoning it, it's better. Like these two are going to be better in the hand than all the rest. So we probably would want to do that. Albaz banished, Aluber banished. This is a bit of a longer video, just like, you know, going with the flow, sort of like a stream of consciousness. Lubellion, and now I am going to discard the Harpy's Feather Duster. If I am going first, this will not be as effective going forward. So it's going to be fine to discard. You can also discard, like, if you don't want to overextend and go for the Cartesia and possibly lose to Nibiru even further, then you can discard this. This will bring itself back to the hand and you're basically not losing any cards. So you can do either, but I am going to discard the Feather Duster. This is exactly why we do these types of videos, to talk about all the options that we have, right? Lubellion, back into the extra, Mirror Jade. Okay, Resolution, we tribute this off. And again, if you're not playing Branded Beast, your line might be a little bit different because you don't get value off of this if you already have access to Lost. But if you are playing Branded Beast and I am playing a little bit of a higher Bestial count, then you can definitely go for the Branded Beast here. So you already have a Banish and a Pop. You can go for... you can still normal summon the Cartesia here. And just as a follow-up for next turn. So if you do go normal summon the Cartesia here, you set... there's no reason in this hand, for example, to set Branded in red, right? Because you don't have any targets right now in the graveyard. So you will activate Albion's effect in the end phase, and you can do Branded Banishment if you play it, and you can also do Branded Retribution, right? Branded Retribution, after you activate Mirror Jade once, it can shuffle back both of the fusions in your graveyard to negate a special summon. But Banishment in this case might be actually really good. So if you are playing Banishment and maybe you sided it in, now during the end phase we have one card in hand, we have a pop, we have the Banishment, which could be an interruption and it could be an extension, and also you of course have a Mirror Jade, and then you have the Cartesia. So in your opponent's turn, you can either, if you have anything to pop, you can pop with the Beast and send the Lubellion. Then you can activate the Banishment, and if you don't want to banish the Albion and the Cartesia here, so you can either banish one of your opponent's monsters with this or both of your opponent's monsters, and then you can search off of Lost, or you can just summon this if you have control over the game, and then you can basically do this, special summon the Granguignol, right? You can activate Cartesia's effect, then on resolution you get Branded Lost, you add an additional negate to your hand. And again, if you already have control over the board, and it's very, like, you know, it's really hard to imagine these scenarios because we're not playing an opponent here, but you can, what you can do is send to the graveyard ad libitum, so that the next turn when they pass it back to you, now one, you have another Albion because you fused it. You didn't use Banishment, you fused it with Cartesia, so we are getting another Branded Fusion. We are getting the Cartesia back to hand. Then we're going to draw an additional card for turn. And here what we can do is, you know, we can go, if we're playing like back row, we can go for a big Chimera on this, right? Which cannot be interrupted anymore. Let's say we're going against Labyrinth, against Sword Soul. We pop, we get a search. You can search for, honestly, whatever. At this point, it might be Albion because we already have everything. If you do want to recycle the brand in red, you can go for Springen's Kit, who is here somewhere. Get it back from the graveyard. You have 5 cards in hand already, so crazy hand advantage. And then on resolution, you can just special summon the back the Mirror Jade. The Mirror Jade is now alive. You can just start popping off. And if you pull this off, you really have control over the game. And let's shuffle this back, try to play out another hand and see what we can do. So again, this build is the one I uploaded yesterday to the channel, so you can go check it out for yourselves to see the exact, card list. This is, again, I noted it in the video as well, but this is a very specific personal take on the deck. Not every build has to be this way, but the reason that I built it the way it is with the things like Bestials, I built it with things like Brand Banishment, is because of the specific meta I'm playing in. And I'm always telling you guys this, don't net deck, don't copy decks from YouTube and take them to your locals blind. You need to be, you need to have an understanding on what's happening in your locals, so you can, get the best build to fit your local scene as possible. Luber, Brand Fusion, Branded Opening, Tragedy. So this is a very good example. Unfortunately, we're not opening things like Fusion Deployment. This is why opening is sometimes so annoying, because you have 3 Branded Fusions here. You also have 3 Alubers here. It's such a funny hand, but we're gonna definitely make it work. So you can, so it might be a little bit neg, but you can do the very, very most simple combo there is, right? You can go Aluber, get Branded Lost, right? Here, let's utilize Cartesia here a little bit. Now we obviously have this. We can go for Branded Fusion. Let's go for Branded Fusion here. Let's send the Albaz, and let us also send the... This is another, again, depending on what you're going up against, this could be good. Let's send Springet's Kit. Get ourselves a copy of Rindbrum. Let's go. Now we can go for Branded Lost. Can get ourselves a copy of Cartesia. Now we can special summon the Cartesia because we already have the Albion here. Now what we can do is actually fuse the Cartesia and the Tragedy to go for the Grand Guignol. Now what we can do, I'm sorry that everything is so bright. I'll try to fix it in editing. But now we get the effect of Tragedy. We also get the effect of Grand Guignol. Right? So what we can do here is send Albion to the graveyard using Grand Guignol, and we can search for ad libitum. So again, back row decks or interrupting the start of a combo, this is really, really good. So what you can do now is basically pass turn from here, bring back the Cartesia to the hand. Now we can grab the Albion. Albion grabs us branded in red, right? So we have branded in red, and then in our opponent's turn, we actually get a few things here. So let's say we want to draw into more cards, or let's say we want to pop 2 cards. We go branded in red, we grab the Despian Tragedy, then we can go, let's say we pop 1, draw, let's say we pop 1, draw 2, okay? So you can go this, and this is fine to stay on the field because we're going to search another one. Then we're going to get our Chimera, we're going to pop 1. Then we get Chimera 1, ad libitum 3, target Grand Guignol, Tragedy, lost. Now we get another negate to our hand, so we already have a monster negate here and a monster negate in the hand. This is an Albaz Fusion, so you're good. Tragedy will search us a copy of Aluber for the next turn. For follow-up, ad libitum will summon the Grand Guignol so that we can extend from there. And then these 2 are going to be banished. We are going to shuffle the deck and draw 2 cards. Sometimes that happens. I mean, sometimes you draw 3 openings. And I really dislike opening, but we have 7 cards in hand. 7 cards in hand. Off of, you know, a pretty simple end board that was basically Granguignol, Rindbrum. But if you plan accordingly for the next turn, then you get a really good... The fact is that Branded can have a very, you know, let's say modest board, but then pop off because Chimera draws, ad libitum adds, tragedy adds, all those kind of things. They're just really, this is what makes the deck so extremely good. So I hope you did learn a few ways that you can navigate the deck. This deck is extremely versatile, and this is not like a linear combo. You saw that every hand that we get, we have a few options to break it down and consider what is the best path to go in. The best way to do that is testing. But this is like the baseline, the most minimal baseline of like understanding that maybe you can end on a semi-optimal board, but have insane follow-up that you don't die. And next turn you start off with, you saw us starting off a turn with 8 cards in hand, which is nuts in Branded. So I did hope you learned something. Let me know if you guys want to see more of these videos in the future. I would be really happy to make those. Also, of course, if you enjoyed this type of content and you like what I do, if you gain something from my videos and learn new things, consider subscribing. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can join as a member. Click the join down below. The benefit of that is not only that you contribute to my channel directly and your name appears in every video at the end, you also get exclusive access to our members only Discord channel where you get all of my deck lists before everybody else. Every week, before any of my videos, you know the goo firsthand. So thank you again for watching. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.